This is not a. I was just up on and being featured on Blog TV, and suddenly Blog TV crashes. And also, Blog TV has not been allowing me to download my shows to put up on YouTube anymore. I'm working with their tech support supposedly, and trying to get that done, and it ain't happening. Yesterday I could not download it. Well, do this, do that. Well, I'd do that if it would do that. It won't let me do that. So we're trying to get that fixed. We're trying to get that fixed, and so they again, folks, they are messing with us on the internet. I just talked to a half a dozen companies that are looking at my website to seeing what they can do and if they can help. If you can help, we've got movies to do here, folks. We've got books to sell. We've got Mark's got a book. I mean, if I picked up Mark's book and was promoting that, and we were getting the hits on the website when not being blocked in the libraries. We're up. The pharmaceutical companies and the whole medical complex is just as guilty of killing and enslaving the American people as the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower warned you about.
Exactly. They're doing it, and if you don't raise up and do something and join us and get strong, we're gonna, it's gonna be a mess for everyone. Total mess. Now, there's different places that are trying to do stuff, little organizations like Mind Freedom, different things, Voices, Thought. There's different little organizations. So you could help us, there's other little organizations that we could all get together and do something about this.
Well, that's it. Divide and conquer is the oldest maxim in warfare. So they want to separate us into liberals and the conservatives, and hippies and cowboys and bikers and straights, and it's bullshit.
Yeah. You know, they get to my family, they ruined me. My husband, I was married to for 34 years, divorced me, and guess what he takes? The drugs. He's already in their system. They got him. They got some of my kids convinced that I'm the nutcase, that they're all together and know what they're doing here. They lie, they cheat, they steal, just like that song that was out. They lie, they cheat, they steal. That song is right on. That's what they do. I think it's time for us to wake up and help. I'm begging you guys to wake up and help. If it's donations, that's fine. If you want to come along and help, that's fine. If you want to do emails, for whatever.
For $20, you can get a book. You can make a donation. I'll send you one of my books in in PDF form. You could be reading it tonight, folks. $20 donation. Jesus Christ! Yeah. Come on. We and if you get my nonfiction books, you'll be aware of what has happened to us and how we've been manipulated and controlled for the last 2,000 or 3,000 years.
Yeah, and the reason why is nobody's doing anything. They're not doing anything out there. There's just a few of us. We need more helping.
I've just had people
start helping.
I've just had people on my show from third-party position party and new political parties. We are meeting with the sheriffs. The 2 or 3 sheriffs are going to be speaking on the same stage with me. That will hopefully that'll help to discount all of these people that are trying to say I'm an extremist, I'm a racist, I'm this, I'm that. Bull. I am
garbage. What?
Go ahead, dear.
When are you doing this? What date?
It's 11/11/11.
Wow. Isn't that perfect? Yeah. That's coming up.
Yes.
And something needs to be done about this.
And we can do this, folks. There's a war on the border. I mean, there's so many things happening, and a lot of it, this whole the whole 9/11 controversy now, We know they did it. We know they blew it up. We know there was no planes, no Arabs, nobody did that. But it's used as a distraction so we can argue over, gee, do you think they used thermite or nukes? It's to divide and conquer.
That's right. And they think they can get by with it and they're laughing in your face. Do you want them to continue doing this and hurting people and laughing in your face like you're a fool? Or do you want to get up and be a person, a human being, do something about it that God created you to do? That God would be honored to help you if you will do it. He will honor you. He will bless you. He'll take care of you. But if you don't get in and help, I'm sorry, you're going to be let go.
Well, you're right. You're right, and you know, God has given us the information. He's told us that He gave us every plant on earth to for our own good. But they made hemp illegal in this country, and now they're about to make tomatoes illegal. You know, oh, you grew that tomato, you didn't check with us first? No, I didn't. And guess what? My chickens don't have any chips in the meter. So
if they don't raise up and do something, you're going to suffer like I and Mark are suffering, and more, probably even worse.
Folks, we do have to fight this. I mean, Donna Taylor is a brave lady, and she's traveled around 3 states trying to keep her son safe. Your son and your brother were poisoned in your house in New Mexico. How did that happen?
That's correct.
Was that just an accident again?
I believe it was a setup. A setup. I called the inspection agency to come out to the house, and they found a methane gas leak. And the reason why I did that, the reason why I called them out there, is my brother was so sick, and he was going to the hospital, to the emergency room 2 and 3 times a day, and they couldn't find out what was wrong with him. He couldn't breathe. He was weak. He thought he was dying. And they couldn't find nothing wrong with him? Was that another set-up job in the hospital to lie to us? I took him to California and found out that it was in his bloodstream, and he was not mental. That the methane gas was in his bloodstream. And Arizona wanted to keep him and put him in a mental institution there, too. Hobbs, New Mexico didn't want to help. I think they're all in cahoots. They didn't help my brother. He almost died. I come back to Colorado, and I find one doctor that can help him, that knows how to treat somebody that's been poisoned by this stuff. But you know what? The other doctors didn't want to believe it was that, or they didn't care, or they were set up to not help him. I think it's the setup, not help him.
It seems like that now. Who is his doctor now? Who's Mark's doctor in Colorado?
Well, Mark, he isn't in Colorado no more. He got sick of here, so he's out of state, in the West Coast now.
Mark's out of state?
And yep, he moved. Yep.
Your son is. Wait a minute. Your son is.
I'm talking about my brother.
Oh, I'm asking about Mark. I'm asking about Mark.
He's in Colorado. Mark is here in Colorado.
Okay.
He's here, and I'm willing to take him anywhere if somebody has a plan. Anybody has a plan to help him get off these drugs, he can help me. I'm willing to take him anywhere, but not in the state's hands.
Yeah, David says they can use the excuse if they want to hassle anybody. I mean, somebody asked me, how do you make a tomato illegal? Well, if you've got to, if they just, it was back east, some lady grew too many vegetables in her front yard, and they went in and prosecuted her for it. Fined her for it. And if you don't want to allow the inspectors to come in your backyard and approve from the FDA, we're with the FDA. We need to inspect your tomatoes. We need to see, wait a minute, there's a bug on it. Look, there's a bug on it. I don't know if this bug's approved or not.
Yeah.
But they've actually done that to a friend of mine, sort of, a friend of mine on a ranch. They came on his ranch and said, that's a red-tailed hawk over there. We're going to have to, like, fence off this area here. And you know, I said, well, what'd you do about it? He said, I shot the son of a bitch. and buried it, you know. And you know, that's what Solzhenitsyn said they did in the gulags in Russia. They sat around and whined and went, man, if we'd just taken some pitchforks, or a machete there, and some of these tax collectors didn't come back, you know, we might have been better off. And folks, that's what my event that I'm trying to put together in Cochise County is about, to put the veterans together. Homeless veterans. We got homeless veterans here. We got more of my brothers that volunteered for Vietnam killed themselves after they got home from Vietnam than were killed in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think that's a national tragedy. I think the vets are to be put to work, and there's plans. Even the government is working with us. Obama, in his executive order, says, wow, you know, there's tremendous economic potential in the rural areas. No shit, Sherlock. Mm-hmm. We know that, you know, and that's why we're putting together Liberty Villages rather than councils to try to sit around and tell people how to grow their vegetables. That's what they want to do.
Uh-huh.
And the greening of America, if you're not greening America, if you're selling the top of that mountain to a foreign company to build wind generators, put the wind generators on your house. We can build a house for you in less than a week that'll withstand hurricanes for probably under $10,000. And if you had that house in a village where you were working with your neighbors to grow food, to create your own solar, to sell your food, to work with your neighbors, we would be doing everything that we don't need the government to do. We don't need the power companies. We don't need the governments. We've got the land, and they have tried to close it down. They have tried to close it down. They don't want you. They don't want you being self-sufficient. And any time a communist regime takes over a country, now the communist regime is taking over the world. So this is a worldwide revolution. We're not talking about an American revolution here. We are trying to set an example for the rest of the country. Right. And we can't do it if the politicians are bought and paid for by the military, industrial, medical complex.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe what's going on. Why people don't raise up and do something? It's like somebody comes and punches you, takes their fist and beats you, and you keep standing there and let them punch you. That's what this reminds me of, when people won't wake up and help.
Donna, you know, part of it is the people are dumbed down. They're programmed. They don't call television programming for nothing. It's the greatest mind control tool out there. And all they want to do, they want to give you the drugs, and they're not just doing it to Mark. My grandmother was strung out on Reds, sleeping pills. My mother was strung out on pain pills. She was always in pain. She always had her pain pills. She never had any kind of normal life, and they sat and watched the TV. And that's what they're doing to me. Your own volume, you're sitting in front of the TV is telling you, look, here's the way our fantasies life is. Here's this, but you know, we need to get back to the land. We need to know what we're going to grow, and our greenhouse or our backyard here is going to be able to feed us. Especially if we're trading with our neighbor, and that's the way it needs to be again. That's the way it was in this country 100 years ago, before the Federal Reserve came in. We had windmills on our farms and our ranches. You might have to ride a day to get to your neighbors, but you can certainly sleep over, ride back, have a good party. Mm-hmm. And today, we don't have to ride. We've got the internet. We've got the communication. If we go back to the lifestyle of the 19th century with the convenience of the 21st, we've got a winning combination. And you got to be willing to stand up and just say, wait a minute, no, we ain't gonna, you ain't going to come in here and chip our chicken. No, you ain't going to inspect our gardens. We're eating it. We'll take our chances. You know, we know what we're growing. We're raising our livestock. We're doing this. We need to support the family farms. We need to get back to them. We need to get back to the ranches. We need to get back to the cowboys riding the range Except when we go into town, we can do it quicker because we can do it on the Harley.
Right.
Matter of fact, I just saw.
Well, the whole idea is to, I'm going to tell you something right now. The whole idea is to get everybody locked up in mental work. So you better get up and do something now.
I have just, as just I told you folks, this is what they're doing, and this information is out there now. It's out there.
They're not your friend. Don't let them pretend to be either. These are not friends. They try to play the role of being a friend. They're your worst enemy and nightmare. Beware. You heard what I said. Beware.
It's happening now, but I mean, I just did an article. It's up on the internet, and what they did to the Russians, what they did to the Ukraine, they starved 10 million Ukrainians. This is like starving 10 million people in the middle of Kansas when you got fields full of grain. And the farmers, ranchers are complaining to us that the only help they can get is illegals. Well, we need to change that. That's a mindset. That's a program into the TV. How are you going to get them back on the farm after they've seen L.A.? So we've got to. How do you turn that around, folks? I mean, the ways that I've outlined to you. If you grow your own food, you got neighbors to protect you. So when you go into town, your house don't get ripped off like mine did. We got to do this. This is planning for the future. This is planning for what happened in Russia. What's happening around the country. These economies are crashing.
Because they're stealing all the money. They're stealing it. The mental health in different places like that.
That's right. And then at the same time, we're the illegals, the illegal situation that we're trying to call attention to, are stealing more billions from us. They're walking up here and somebody in the government's handing them a check. We are financing our own revolution. What's happening is the balkanization of America now. Let me just, folks, I don't want to shift the subject matter, but they're using the illegals to bring the illegal drugs up here. If the drugs were legal here, they could just hand them right across the border to anybody that wanted to buy them. Well, they don't have to make criminals. They made your grandfathers into criminals because they were growing their own fuel. It was called alcohol. They made that illegal. They made drugs illegal to keep you from growing hemp on your farm, because that would compete with the Rockefeller's oil business and DuPont's rope business. And but they're talking about even there's a lawsuit going that runs afoul of the National Voter Registration Act. This law spells out what states can and cannot do before someone can vote in a federal election. Trial judge did not see it that way last year. In a divided opinion, a 3-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit ruled the law invalid. That was a law to allow the illegals to vote. And our Attorney General here says he will argue the case personal. Illegals are voting and they shouldn't be voting. Nobody that I've talked to, regardless of political persuasion, can understand how a court can tell us that we can't make sure people who vote are citizens. There's some evidence when the case went to trial that illegal immigrants had registered to vote. Some of that from the state's 2 largest counties. Normally, the way they catch people is they get a jury summons and they swear under oath that they're not citizens, but they're already registered to vote. So we've got this illegal situation is taking place here, and in Texas they said that here in Cochise County or Pima County for that matter. The border counties in Texas, Oklahoma, or Texas, Arkansas, Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona, and California. The counties next to the border is a war zone. A war zone. And Mark's one of the victims of that war because they don't want activists coming out and exposing these people. And that's what Mark did with his book, with his films, with even with Michael Moore.
Well, even exposing at the drug company itself, Federal Drug Administration.
Yeah, what I was going to ask you is what happened to John DeCamp. Now, I thought John DeCamp was a good guy. He's trying to expose the child pornography, the child abuse racket, and the politicians that are there. So what happened to
him is they closed him down. They closed him down real quick by he was having medical problems with his back. And you know it was all a setup because he was in so much pain with his back. He ended up in the hospital getting it fixed again. And why didn't the doctor fix it right? But no, again he went in because he was on this case. They fixed it so it got down. And they had him probably on painkillers so he couldn't do the job. And on top of it, they had like 10 or 15 attorneys against us where he was the only one that was fighting for Mark. Now how can you take one attorney against 15 of them jerks?
That's right.
How? How can one person beat 15? How?
What happened to the money? I mean, you put the money in. You guys came up with $100,000 to give to attorneys. What happened?
Well, actually, what happened was we gave to camp a certain amount, quite a bit, and he was to put it in a bank account and draw against it, not using Mark's money. That's all Mark had to live on. And basically he got nowhere with the case, and he ended up keeping the money, and then we got a refund from him. Apparently he had been abused so much from these people that he didn't even think what he was doing against us. And he was so sick and on drugs, so how would he know?
The camp was on drugs too? They had him drugged?
Oh yeah, painkillers and everything else. Who knows what they do? They know that if you're in back pain, you're on painkillers. And do you know that most of the painkillers are made up of the antidepressants? I don't know if you knew that.
No, I don't take any pills, so.
Yeah, well, they're part of that, and that can switch the mind so you can't do your job right. They did a good job on him. You can't fight a beast like that without help. And they should never, ever, ever be allowed to bring that many attorneys in. They should have one attorney, to be fair, one attorney to one attorney, not a bunch of attorneys coming in and scaring the heck out of somebody and threatening people. Okay, we had a lawsuit at the very beginning. Peterson took the case when this whole thing happened. And most of the victims went on the drug suit case. I went in one day to the meeting, and the attorney warned them that if they didn't get off the drug case, he was warned by the drug company that if they didn't pull off the lawsuit, they were going to lose everything they owned, the houses and everything. So all the victims jumped off the case except for Mark.
And so this is could be termed revenge, couldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. Yeah, of course. Now, these people that are doing this, they better think about changing their mind and coming on the right side, because I know of some white workers and some people that are trying to take the darkness down that are working behind the scenes. So if they think they're going to get by with something, they're never going to get by with it.
Well, if they're working behind the scenes, I'd certainly like to know where they are and why they haven't contacted me. I don't know anybody that's been fighting this kind of crap as long as I have. And we're out.
White workers.
where Alex Jones wouldn't come forward, where John Stadmiller, where none of these so-called patriot talk show hosts, none of them will make people aware of your situation. I think that that's basically criminal. And if you're supporting them because you know it's easy for you to sit there in your chair and be lied to, be misdirected. You know, never talk. You know, and folks, I mean, I will talk about Jews. I'll stop as soon as they stop talking about the Palestinians and the Arabs, and work together and live together. Just like they do in New York City. You know, I've traveled the streets of New York, and I had customers there that were Jewish. I had customers that were Christian. I had customers that were Muslims. I basically didn't see any difference of them. I don't care how you worship. I don't care what your skin color is. If you're working for freedom, you're not trying to rip off somebody, steal from somebody, or suppress somebody, then you're one of the good guys.
No.
You know, so this ain't about race. Now, the people keep in mind, the white race is threatened. There are Muslims being run in Europe. There are Mexicans being run in here, and we have to deal with that. We have to deal with that, folks. You know, this is a reality. This is a balkanization of America. This is what they did to the 60 million white Russians that were murdered in Russia. That's what they're doing to you. That's happening right now. 60,000 Americans have been killed since 9/11. Way more than the 3,000.
Oh, probably more than that, but whatever.
By illegal aliens. By illegal aliens. 40% of them. You know, they make up 40% of our prisons. And if you're a white boy and you get thrown into prison, you got to fight for your life.
That's right. That's right.
You're going to fight for your life, or you're going to be punked out and used as a doormat for the gangs in prisons.
Right. Right. We've let this go way too long, but it's never too late to jump in and do something to make a difference. It's not over yet.
No, it's not over yet, you know, and you know.
And if you have any faith in God at all, you will know His power is greater. But He is expecting you to do something about it.
That's right. He's certainly sitting there watching and waiting to see what you're going to do.
Right.
You know, we've got free will.
And guilty is the one that's doing it if you don't. The Bible says.
You know, I would like for everyone that's hearing my voice to call up your radio stations and call them up and say, why won't you talk to this woman? Call up your local newspapers. Why won't you talk to this woman? My number's 505-908-9498. You can call me. You can work with me. You can order books. You can make a donation. You can help out just a little bit. We're really working, trying to get this done, folks. We found attorneys and lost attorneys. They get scared. They get threatened. I've had my company sold for $500,000. One of my companies sold for $500,000 on Thursday. A press release went out on Friday. On Saturday, on Monday, I walked into the office and everybody is gone. Nobody. We can't go through with the deal, Clay. We can't go through with the deal. They threaten us. They're going to crash our stock. They're going to impeach me as CEO of my own companies. You
know what? I'm going to tell you something. They want you to be scared. They want you to be frightened.
Okay, we're out of time, so folks. So
okay.
let me
don't go there.
stay with me.